Viljakainen. He is the member of our board of trustees. So let's give a round of applause to Mr. Pekka. If you don't mind, I'll do a very quick introduction.
Go ahead.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
So I just got a bio of Mr. Pekka here. So he studied engineering in Finland, and later on he started as an entrepreneur in 1986, and then has been serving the society, I would say, as an investor, as a business angel, and as a senior advisor to different kinds of organizations, including Skolkovo Foundation. We also know him as a supporter and a philanthropist, and I'm very happy that Mr. Pekka is here today so that he can give us a lecture about his life experience probably, and you have a unique opportunity to ask questions today. So the floor is yours, Mr. Pekka.
Okay, ladies and gentlemen, it's great to be back in Almaty. My name is Pekka. Viljakainen is very difficult, just Pekka. Or Papa Pekka. Papa Pekka. The Finski coin. As said, today I will tell you about my own learnings about how to run business. I have two children, Danchik, who is 12, and Sonchik, who is 16. Danchik and Sonchik, and they always say that, Papa, your stories are very boring. And when I said that I go to Almaty to talk for students, my son Danchik said that, don't say anything stupid. No, this is the guideline from the young teenagers like you are. I cannot guarantee that I will not tell anything stupid because, you know, I have been in the business a long time. I'm very old. I'm almost like a dealership. So I'm like I started when I was 13, 1-3. And I'm now 47 years old. And I have been 34 years in operations. So that's why I am a very old man. But I do weightlifting. I'm the second strongest in Finland. So if you want to go to the gym of Rich Carton, we can have a competition. I can lift 220 kilos in bench press. So boys, if you want to challenge old Tiedushka, go ahead. But I don't encourage you to do that. You will lose. Okay. Today, as said, I have reserved a lot of time for questions. So start thinking about good questions. All the questions are good. There are no stupid questions. So no kind of you don't need to think if this question is stupid or not. I can answer already. Very quickly, my background, which is not the key issue here, is that I really started my business when I was 13 years old. As a very handsome guy from the middle of the forest. In my village, there was only 350 people, close to the Soviet Union border. My first thing was to buy an old car and hire a driver because there was nothing how to go see the customers. So luckily, in the next village was a guy who was 18 years old, who had a driving license. So I hired him and I bought an old car. No, I made a company with 20,000 people in 175 offices in 27 countries. And it as such is a long story, and I have written a book called Bestraha, No Fear, where you can see the story. I'm not going to go that story because I will focus more on the more interesting thing, what is relevant today in 2020 here in Almaty. Because times are different than it was in the 1980s or 90s or even millennium 2000. But anyway, the background is that I have built a company and I have hired 20,000 people to work for me. The thing how I made my money, because everybody asks, what have you invented something, is that I made the world's first internet bank. I programmed by myself the world's first internet bank in 1994.
Wow.
1994. So why I'm saying is that when I'm now working in Russia, I have built Pochta Bank. We have digitalized 9 million babushkas to use digital tools. It is 25 years after I did it in Finland. 25 years difference. And, but the rules are pretty much the same. Okay, this is the no fear story. How I ended up to Russia, because it is true that 10 years ago I was invited to Russia because Russia was investing in an innovation project called Skolkovo. And a part of the journey of Skolkovo was to make 2 universities, Skolkovo Business School, which has a partner, you're partnering in Alma U is doing projects, and make a technical school called Skoltech together with MIT. And 10 years ago, it happened that after they had been making this project for 9 months, the board of trustees of Skolkovo, where was half Americans, half Russians, they told to Dimuchka, the former prime minister and president, Mr. Medvedev, that Dimuchka, we need somebody in between Russians and Americans. That we need somebody who is not a politician, who is not Russian, who is not American, who is only watching the story from the business standpoint. And many times in history, they have always watched to Finland, because Finland is kind of in between. And I had retired. I retired when I was 38. I retired from operations, and I'm not working anymore in my company. I'm as a retired pensioner. They said that come to Moscow, and I said, okay, I will come for a half a year, but now I've been 10 years working for Russian government. And you see, in Russia, governments change, prime minister change, but Pekka remains. That's the story. So this is the formal statement. That no matter who is president or prime minister, I will remain, because I am only focusing on the how to make business. And they also gave me 6 years ago an impossible project. How to modernize Pochta Russia. Because Pochta Russia is the most hated institution in Russia. It's more hated than military, it's more hated than tax authorities. Everybody hates Pochta. It's complete shit, a dinosaur. And that's why it was an interesting project. And I think I was here 6 years ago, first time, when I had just joined to Pochta. And I remember when people were thinking like, that this terrible job for a Finnish guy. But October 2019, 4 months ago, Pochta Russia was becoming a joint stock company. It took 5 years, hell of a lot of work, lot of chai, lot of vodka, lot of discussions, lot of pushing, and we had to change hundreds of people who were against changing something old to new. But now it is there. I also established Pochta Bank. I'm the founder of Pochta Bank, and I said we have 9 million customers. I'm also the board member on those. Not only a board member in Alma U, but also in the 2 largest Russian entities, watching the modernization and the digitalization of these organizations. Okay. Today I'm not talking about big companies. Today I'm talking about how you, as a smart people, I assume you are all smart, would start your own business. If you think that you have a good idea, you are good dealing with other people, you might select a journey to start your own business. Your mother, your father, and your babushka is against the idea, because they think that you should work in a nice governmental organization with a steady salary, get married with a nice girl or boy, have a nice Toyota, 2 children, nice house, easy living, that's it. That's every parent wants that. grandfather was the founder of a company called Nokia. You have heard about it. So I was born in 1972, and in 1978 we got our first mobile phone when I was 6 years old. Our first mobile phone was 250 kilograms. So I was sleeping on top of it in the car when I was 6 years old. So I know something about mobile technology. My grandfather always said to me that, Pekka, start a business, do an IPO. But my grandmother always said that, don't listen, grandfather. Work for Nokia. Have an easy life. Don't try something new. And I said to grandmother that, thank you for advice, but no. And actually, now I am having the same discussion with my own children, because I have given to Dancik and Sonchik all my companies, all the shares. But Dania said that, Papa, I don't need your money. I will do my own money. You can give it to somebody else. So we have a discussion. I have a problem. Who will continue my companies? But I'm fine. I can donate it to somewhere. If they don't want it, then they don't want it. And okay, I'm not so old yet. I'm not planning to die soon, so. Okay, about entrepreneurship. There are 3 fairy tales which I was telling in the masterclass here 5 years ago. And these are not changing, because these are pretty much the same. My grandfather always said that the great product will sell itself. This is total bullshit. It might be okay in the 1980s, but it's not anymore. It doesn't matter, even you are a Nobel winner of techno-science, even you invent totally unique something. You can Google and you can find 10 competing variants of everything. Every single topic in this world, you can find 10 to 100 variants. You just Google a little bit with different languages, you find always variants. Okay, now is this depressing? Is everything already been invented? Of course not, because new innovations are a combination of pieces of different technologies, parts of technologies, and the change of our behavior. We are changing our behavior fundamentally. And there are more and more innovations and more money are being created by new products. And science has a role, technical science, to invent new materials, new environmentally sustainable technologies. But more and more, there are new products, is a combination of many other things. An iPhone is a great example. When Steve Jobs was making an iPhone, he actually focused only on the customer interface and design. He didn't invent touchscreen. It was invented by Nokia 8 years before iPhone. But Nokia didn't want to use it. Because Nokia fuckers, they were thinking that nobody wants to use touchscreen. We want to use keyboards. And they lost the market in mobile phones. Steve Jobs didn't invent 3G or 4G. It was invented by Samsung. He didn't invent the battery technology because it was invented by Panasonic. He didn't invent App Store because it was done by a tiny technical company from Texas, and he bought it. So I'm just saying that more and more, when you check innovations and new products, those are a combination of ongoing technologies and a fast speed to combine those together. And that's why the word innovation I kind of hate, because people start to think that as an innovator you do everything from zero. That's not true. As an innovator, you innovate the best combination for the consumers here in Kazakhstan or everywhere in the world. That's how you do business. And you have to be ready to market and sell like hell. Nobody will come to Almaty and ask your product that, sir, can I buy your product? I flew all the way here to buy your product. I would be very happy if you could sell me your product. That's not the case. Okay. The second fairy tale is that if I ever see an entrepreneur here in Almaty or anywhere who tells to me that, Mr. Viljakainen, just give me your wallet, meaning money, I don't need anything else. I don't need any help. I know how I'm doing this business. I just need money. Believe me, something is always wrong. A person who tells to you that I know how to run business, I don't need any advice, I don't need any help, only money, something is always wrong. I have had a luxury to know Bill Gates and Steve Ballmer. I even got my nickname, the bulldozer, from Steve Ballmer 25 years ago. And for example, Bill Gates, he doesn't have a sentence in his vocabulary that I know what I'm doing. He's so curious. If Bill Gates would be here, he would be like seeing anything interesting. What is this device? What is this device? Interesting person, who are you? Interesting this. And he's the richest guy in the planet. He doesn't need to be curious. He doesn't need to, because he can buy everything. But he is born with the gene that he's always interested. If you want to make money, if you want to make business, you have to stay curious about everything. And I have been now working 34 years. And last night I slept 2.5 hours because I was flying from the North Sea here, from Arkhangelsk. Why I am excited? Why I am excited? Am I some kind of crazy? Is it true that my children think that it's right? I am crazy. Why I'm spending this morning with you without any sleep when I could be in a spa of Ritz-Carlton, in a massage? Because I like to communicate with young people like you, because in every session I learn something. In every session I learn something, and from those small dots or bits comes the whole story. That's called curiosity. That's why I'm the board member of Alma Youth. It's not nice to wake up 6 o'clock in the morning when you have a time difference and join by Skype to the meetings from some hotel in Barcelona, when I could be doing something else. But I'm curious how Alma Youth is making you great students and great people for this nation. That's why I'm doing it. This is for Russians, but the same applies for Kazakhstan. I always tell the Russians that do not focus to the Russian market. Russia is a big country. I have been in 98 Russian cities in 10 time zones. I have kissed with all the governors. It's terrible, by the way, but it's part of my job. I have seen every single corner of Russia in the past 6 years. Every corner. But as a market, Russia is only 1.9% of the world economy. So, same in Kazakhstan. Kazakhstan is a big country compared to Finland. I mean, Finland is like a small fucking Mickey Mouse country, 5 million people, irrelevant, 5 million people. But Kazakhstan is a big country. But my advice to you is that even you would make a successful business here, don't only believe on that. Even you would make millions or trillions or trillions here, you need to know what is the rest of the world is doing. That's a very essential part, and I always tell for the professors and for the universities that the aspect of knowing the rest of the world should be embedded to any educational program. It's not only speaking English, it's not only traveling. Because, for example, Russians, they travel like hell all the time. But if you go to Dubai, it doesn't mean that you know anything about Dubai. Because you can go have a sun, eat your pasta bolognese there and then fly back, and you don't have any friends there, and you don't have any knowledge about the Dubai. You can come to Finland, see the Santa Claus, but you don't know anything about the business there. So my point is that the most important thing for any young people like you is to build trust relations, friendships over the borders, to start to know people, trust people outside of your home domain. And in Russia, I can make a joke about Russians because we are in Kazakhstan. This is the most difficult thing. Because in Russia, you only trust people who are living in your own university, in your own city. You don't even trust to the next city. If I'm in Novosibirsk, I ask, have you teamed up with the entrepreneurs in Krasnoyarsk? They say, no, why? They are our competitors. So if you don't trust even other cities of Kazakhstan, why the hell you would trust on people coming from Vietnam or from Japan or from Helsinki? That's a big problem, because entrepreneurship, and this, please remember this, entrepreneurship fits only to the people who are not afraid of anything in this world, except their mother. It's good to be a little bit afraid of mother, everything else is fine. Okay. To a little bit add more flavor on what I just said, I have taken this photo, it's not me by the way, but I've said that an entrepreneur, a startup entrepreneur, feels many times like this, that you are surfing, you have a steady surf, and you hear that behind you there is like big waves, but you are like surfing, everything is cool, you are young, you are interested, everything is nice, but there is a hell of a wave coming behind you. The question is, how do you survive in this kind of perfect storm? And the question is, how do you build yourself and you? And this is, by the way, the mission for Alma U, to me. This is how Alma U can prepare you, yourself, your skills, your beliefs, to be able to survive in a perfect storm. And it goes like this. Everybody is at the beginning a solo, hidden surfer. Hidden in a sense that you don't tell to anybody what you are doing, you are afraid that somebody will steal your idea. Especially in Russia, this is a big problem. Even you would sit in the event like this, you don't know who is she. And even she would say that, hey, what you are doing, you would say that, I don't tell because she tries to steal. She's smiling in a way like a little bit suspicious. And you stay solo, you try to do things alone. It's a wrong tactic. If you are successful to grow to the next level, you make your local team. You find yourself and you, these 4 girls, and then you hire this gentleman here. You have a 5-people company, you have a local team. The next one is when you say you are the chief executive now, you are the big boss, and you tell to your management team that we should actually go to the Russian market with our product. But to understand what is happening, let's team up one boy who is working in Moscow State University. He will join through the Skype to our meetings. Not once in a while, but every week. That's the next step. You have a multi-location team. And the important thing for you as a boss is that the boy there in Moscow State feels that he is respected by all of you. Also this gentleman, also this woman, and that woman. The next step is that you have a team with international members. Then the gentleman says that, you don't know everything. Should we team up with Pekka Viljakainen? And you hire me. You send a message that, Pekka, can you join to my company? And in that Skype call, there is suddenly Pekka Viljakainen, boy from Moscow State, and these girls and this gentleman. And if you can do that, you are next level. And absolutely, the next step is, if you are able to manage that, is that then you are ready for international business. You are smart people, and you think that why I'm talking so trivial issue. This journey is extremely difficult for the most of the people. This journey is extremely difficult. Not because of language, not because of money, you don't need money for this. But it's who do you trust? And can you lead other people? Can you get this older gentleman to be more senior people excited about your message? Is this lady there, does she trust you? This is a people game. It's not technology game. Sorry, I'm using you as an example. No pressure, you don't need to start your business. To be more concrete, these are the companies where I have invested money. So you can always go to the website aii.fi, Alpha India, India.Fara India, because I'm a helicopter pilot. And you can see where I have invested money. So I'm totally transparent. You can see when I'm buying the companies or selling the companies. You can see from aii.fi. Totally done immediately. I have a Russian wife, and Nastya is very worried that I invest all our family money for crazy startups. She's very worried. And so are the children, so is my dog Belka. They are all worried that I will burn all our money. So I made a deal with them that I can invest maximum 20% of our family equity for the crazy high-risk companies. No, I have to report to them every quarter. So in the breakfast table, after the kasha, I tell that now the percentage is 18, and then the daughter said, now you, Papa, you have 2% more to invest. Okay, good. 2019, I sold 2 companies, and we got our money back 67 times. So the return was not 67%, it was 67 times. And now they think that I'm a genius. That perhaps we should add the rule, put more, 25%. If you get every year 67 times money back, you are a genius. Okay, it doesn't happen every year, I can tell you. But these are the people to whom I have invested. And they are from St. Petersburg, Arkhangelsk, Tomsk, Silicon Valley, Moscow, Helsinki, New York, Tomsk, Helsinki, and Paris. So these are people who are running their startups, where I am buying not the whole company, but let's say 10% to 20%, 30%. My tactics is always to own only small fraction. I am not the control freak. Only when I'm flying helicopter, there I'm a control freak. But in the life, I'm quite relaxed, believe me. And I always want that the entrepreneurs make the most of the money. So I'm the minority shareholder. And why I'm telling this to you is that, as you can see, they are all different. They are totally different education, and so forth. And the thing what I want to share is this slide. What are needed social skills, personality, and behavior? I'm not talking about how good managers they are. Are they great accountants, or are they great on running management meetings? I'm talking about their social skills. I have already said, number one skill is who do you trust? And I want you, dear students, now, don't sleep. Don't sleep, otherwise I will punish you. Think about who do you trust? Who do you trust in life? Of course you trust your mother, okay, that you can leave. Do you trust the person next to you? Yes. Yes, of course. Do you trust the person behind you? No, precisely. Do you trust Asselbeck here? Yes, of course you trust him a lot, yeah. But my point is that if you are building a company and you have an idea, if you have a passion, you have to build a trust relations quickly. And actually, I give you an example. When I came here, I'm 6 years ago, I made my first lecture, and I don't know if it was you or somebody else who said to me that it's very strange that after 60 minutes I know more about you than my deputies. It's tactics, because I tell about myself to get the relation quickly. You already know the name of my children. You know more than you know about many of the people. It's intentional, because I have a very short life and many places to be, and I want to build the relation fast. And the trust must be done quickly. And that's the tactics. But then there are people who are so afraid that somebody will steal my idea, that it's almost impossible to build a relation. They can be Nobel winners, but they are still afraid of everything, that the sky will fall, we are going to die. No, shit, we will die someday, but it's not today to worry about it. The second one is, can you really work in diversity team? And diversity means, can you work in a team? For example, I was making this company here, these 5 people, plus one boy from Moscow and me. Can we work together? How quickly we could, when you could start trusting me? I'm talking crazy stories about sauna culture in Finland, and he's talking something about his background from the time when you were not even born. Can we start trusting each other quickly? It says that we should, but the question is, it's very difficult. Even to put 5 same-age boys from 5 universities, it takes time. Same age, boys, same education, it's difficult. Okay. The next step is, as I said, when you go abroad or you start working like colleagues from Astana, you cannot take them by flight every day here. And they have to feel that you like them, that you love them, you want to work with them. So you have to do it by virtual tools. These are important skills. And are you able to work in fully digitalized world? It might be that if you are older guy or woman, you don't know how to deal with Snapchat. Or you don't know how to share documents in WhatsApp. Or you don't know how to share the screen in Skype. The people are smiling here. But if you have 100 such colleagues who doesn't know it, it's a problem. Okay, these are the behaviors. And I give you a task. Think about yourself, how good you are in these skills. And if you are not, think about how do you improve. It's not self-evident at all. Okay. I have taken a snapshot of the brains of one person. I didn't kill the person. This is just technical issue. Because I always been asked what skills are needed for a successful businessman or woman. And I have said that these are the set of competencies. So you can see from this picture, you can all read that technical skills, for example, science skill or technological skills, is maximum 1/3 of the work. And this is a very surprising thing. If you check Apple, if you check Microsoft, if you take Facebook, and you check the skills, how much of technical skills they have, maximum 30% is the technology, and 70% is the rest. And if you have a team of 5 people, you have to have all these in the head of some of you. Not that you have all those, but you have to have, of course, visionary thinking. You have to know where we are going. You have to have a design. Nobody wants to use ugly products. Nobody wants to use ugly products. It doesn't matter if your phone is the greatest in the planet, but if it looks like a rubber boot, nobody wants to use it. And sales and customer interaction is definitely 1/5. Communication and marketing is 10 or more. And business practice, accounting, financing, legal and intellectual property is definitely 10%. So, if you are thinking about business, you should have all these, and very rarely anyone have more than 3 of these items in the head. It's simply impossible. There are no such Leonardo da Vinci's of the world that you know everything. So, you have to learn from others, you have to copy from the best, and hire always smarter people than you are. These are the issues what you have to have, in a way or another, if you want to sell and make money. That's why I am heavily contributing, and I don't know if it's wrong to say in Alma, you probably not. I'm heavily supporting an idea that all the students would have courses over the university borders. Meaning that if you are in a business school, you would take some lectures in technical school. Or you might have a double studies. If you feel that you are interested about law, you might have a law school, which is kind of strange to me, but it's okay. And then Alma U as a combination. Because by doing that, you start to know people in the different schools. You build person networks. And you are not only thinking about, for example, business management. I personally, when I went to School of Technology, I didn't focus on technology. I started taking courses from business school. So don't tell to anybody, but I'm officially an accountant. This is a secret, don't tell this to anybody. Because I thought that I don't understand about how business accounting works, how the money issues are related. I was a programmer, I was a software designer, but I felt I don't understand it. Then I wanted to understand about design. I was bad drawer. I couldn't design anything. So my first girlfriend was from the School of Design. That's also very convenient. The salary was not much, but other benefits were. So this is the way how I was able to make a team, 5 people, having different competencies. Sorry. Or we can actually go this direction. When you think about financing, all young entrepreneurs think, where do you get money? And this picture is from Silicon Valley. It's not done by me, but it only shows the different phases of a startup investment. First, there is the investigation phase, when you have an idea. You just have an idea about business. Then goes to feasibility, when you start to think, how about the neighbor in your here thinks about your idea. You make some kind of pilot. Then you do development and so forth. Basically, everywhere in the world, and also in Kazakhstan, and definitely in Russia, there are nowadays a lot of funding here. There are a lot of VC companies, venture companies, there are a lot of funds who would invest millions of euros to you if you have bypassed these steps. So that you have already some revenue, perhaps some profit, you have a working concept. You can be very small, but still you can do this thing. In everywhere in the world, including in Almaty, the problem is where to find funding for the early stage. What kind of seed funding? In my case, the seed funding was given by my mother, who was not rich at all. She was an ordinary nurse with 5 children, but she was saving from other expenses, so I was able to buy my first computer. No, she got her money 8 years after back 15,000 times, so she thought that it was a good investment. But at that time it was very difficult. Living in the 1986 in the middle of forest without no money with 5 children and give half of the salary for the crazy son to make a business. It's not self-evident. But my point is that you have to understand where you can get the funding and where you are, and go through all these steps. Okay, this is a little bit detailed, and by the way, I will share you my slides, so you don't need to take photos so much. Of course, you can take photos of me, but for slides you will get. To work with an investor, I'm also an angel investor. I don't look like an angel, but I'm an angel investor. And how do we work? It's not only that we give money. An investor role is not to give money. The investor role is to give heart, the soul to the business. And to give a heart, it means that we have total transparency. We are helping while selecting right people. We are helping with the legal matters. We have a monthly reporting. Not that we only call, or the guy calls to me when they're out of money. It's already too late. So this is, being an investor, it's almost like dating. You start with the dating. You start, how does it feel? How this goes? And then over the months and years you get closer and go to kind of a relation. And if you get to the true trust relation, you can many times make a lot of money out of it. And a lot of business out of it. Okay. I can jump over this and then we can go to the questions. I already said that fast learning is the key. If you check any successful entrepreneur here in Kazakhstan, or in US, or in Finland, or in Britain, they are all quick learners. And they respect other people. And that's why I know, sorry dear professors, that I said that you don't learn entrepreneurship at schools. You don't. That's true. You learn at schools skills, capabilities which are essential for you. But the way how the daily routines in in the company works, you learn only from each other and from the failures. Reading from other people's experiences, not from the schools. And then, this I can jump over. So, how do I learn fast? This is essential. How do I learn? First of all, this, I'm not sure actually, is it the boy or girl? No, girl, I guess it's. When you are making a presentation of your company, you should always design the story like you are telling it to the 4-year-old. Investors like me, we are idiots. We are very simple people. And don't try to make your presentation like you are telling it to the Nobel winner. We are not Nobel winners. We are simple business people. And you have 5 minutes to tell your story. Tell it like for 5 years old or 4 years old. And you can test if you have such a brother or sister or neighbor, you can test your presentation. If the person says that I don't understand what your company is, then you are too complex. You have to explain what problem you are solving in a way that anybody can understand it. My number one issue is to copy all practices. I know that word copy has a bad meaning. People say that copy is illegal, are you copying? I'm not talking that. Copying experience, copying best practices is definitely allowed and it's definitely needed. Hire a team with different competencies and find mentors who can help you in the areas which you don't understand. Avoid investors who only give you money. If an investor only wants to give you money, don't take that. Because you need something else than money. If you can find an investor who is willing to meet you every month to give you 2 hours of his or her time, it's much more valuable than the money, believe me. Be active member of the startup community. In Finland, I want to share with you a view. 10 years ago, Nokia mobile phones was in deep shit because of the strategic failures. Nokia as a company is big again. It's a 50 billion euro company with 5G, dominance in 5G networks and so forth. So Nokia is doing fine. But the Nokia mobile phones was in trouble 10 years ago. And we were sitting, and don't laugh now, we were sitting in a sauna, because in Finland we sit all the time in sauna. All the decisions are made in sauna, all the families are made in sauna, everything's happening in sauna in Finland. We like sauna. There is no reason. And we were 12 guys, 12 business people in a sauna, and we were thinking, what do we do now? Nokia have to fire 20,000 top engineers, and we are selling it to Microsoft, the mobile phones, and everything is bad. And we decided to establish an association called Startup Sauna. And in that Startup Sauna was first 12 members, I was one of those, and now we have 55,000 people. And Startup Sauna community is university students, mainly, alumni members, young business people, some older business people, journalists, university teachers, who are interested about entrepreneurship. And they meet every Friday in one university building, 3 times a month. And there are presentations about the successful companies, and it started very slowly. But that has become the #1 learning mechanism. And our Startup Sauna has so far generated 5 unicorns, over $1 billion worth of companies. 5 unicorns have been born through the Startup Sauna. So be very serious about sauna. And I'm not joking when I'm saying that I really hope that in Almaty, in Kazakhstan, you would have your own startup banya or whatever you want. That you would see each other, that you would start to know who is sitting behind you, if they are interested about entrepreneurship. Or you would know who is she and so forth. This is essential for entrepreneurship. All this is no fear. Then my last slide, and then we can take some questions. Do not laugh, but my advice to all the guys in the room who want to run a business and make money is to hire girls. But I'm very serious about this thing. In Russia, like yesterday in Arkhangelsk, most of the people think that only men are great leaders. I don't know how it's in Kazakhstan. But in Russia, most of the people think that only men are leaders. It's all Soviet bullshit. It might be so that men have some skills to manage big factories, or military, or construction projects. But when we talk technology businesses and knowledge businesses, where you need these social skills, what I was saying, girls are better. Girls are better. And why this is important? This is important because it means that you have to make diversity teams where you can combine not only young and old or experienced and less experienced, but also girls and boys together to compensate lacks of knowledge of social skills. And if you check, and I ask you to do this when you have free time, if you think that there is a great company in the world which you admire, people might say Apple or Microsoft, but you can take any big company, check their management team. In all 100 top companies, 60% of the key people are women. This is not my own illusion. This is the fact. And we cannot underestimate this issue, because also girls are underestimated. My wife, Nastya, thinks that this is total bullshit. Nastya was educated in Soviet Union to say that women, your job is not to be a leader, you do these jobs and so forth, but that's not true. And in Russia, when I have invested to the companies, those teams where the founder is a woman or there are key people, the woman in the key position, they are performing 2 times better than those companies with only men. That's the fact, not my opinion. So I am not a feminist. Believe me, I'm not a feminist. But I'm purely from the money-making standpoint, I think this is essential. Okay. Actually, I have here also a slide for you. Because this is I also want to share with you a view how do you totally fuck up your business. So when you get these slides, avoid these mistakes, because by doing it you can make a bankruptcy very quickly. So this is not a joke. I'm serious about this. So now, ladies and gentlemen, being an entrepreneur is like a surfer, this dog. This is not my dog, by the way. But the point is, how do you make it happen? A business. How do you grow your business? How do you become a great leader? In a way that you can get the right people, best people to work for you, and that you can make a lot of money. Thank you. Spasibo. Okay, now we have a chance to take some questions. Any question is fine.
I'm also a businesswoman, and I have my own business in Afghanistan. I'm Sumaya Wasit from Afghanistan. I'm here to pursue my master's degree here. But especially I have some questions in business. That I want to extend my business here in Almaty. But the big problem for me is to find the customer here and find what are the needs of the customer here. For me, it's a kind of problem and barrier that how can I solve it? Because first of all, if I want to extend my own business, which is in food industry, and its name, my own brand name is Mom Cookies, and I want to make it an international brand, which is based on the feeling and based on the human feelings, and I know that it will be successful in the future. But the problem is here, if I want to make my brand international, so I need to know every country's situation, every country's customers need in these things. So it's a kind of for me, a barrier to not to know from where should I start, from where I should find my customer, from where I should search about my customers' need in these things. So can you please give me some advices to extend my business here or anywhere in the world?
This is an excellent question. I'm also, actually one of my 22 companies is, we are the world's largest organic salmon producer, meaning fish. It's fully robotized business. We are growing salmon for all over the world without any environmental waste. So there is no pollution at all. We produce even the energy. We have this concept called gigafactory of salmon production. So I know the food industry a little bit. We have some 1 million kilos per month we are producing. How we have built what you're asking. So I give you an example. I was 2 weeks ago in Japan. 2 weeks ago in Japan, in Tokyo. And Tokyo is the most demanding fish market in the world. So Japanese are eating 3 times as much fish than Finns are doing. They are very sensitive about the quality. And Japanese are very self-confident about their fish. And by the way, fish costs in Japan 90 euros per kilo, $110 per kilogram of fillet in Japan, so it's quite expensive also. Okay. We had a problem how to understand, is our fish suitable for Japanese market? And we had 2 options. We had an option where we hired some McKinsey or some consultancy company to analyze the market demands. But actually, we decided it was a very expensive proposal, and even we are not a startup, we have a lot of money, but still we decided not to do it. So what we did, we hired a team of 5 chefs, I mean, through the social media, through the Facebook actually, and they hired 20 housewives in Japan, who were telling about how they are doing using a fish, where they are buying the fish. And I was meeting them 2 weeks ago, and through that channel, we found the right contacts, because we cannot know what is happening in Japan. So we have to team up with the local people who are using Sal. And it took us 6 months, the process, but now in 6 weeks, starts Finnair, our airline, transport 2 tons every Monday of finished fish to Japan. So through the social media, we were able to find. In Japan, it was difficult because we don't speak Japanese language and we don't even have the same alphabets. But to analyze German market was much more easier. I don't know, here in Almaty, I don't know, are you doing your business alone? Because if I would be you, I would try to find somebody who is from Almaty here who would like to contribute to your business. And I strongly encourage somebody to help. Even she is very strange, coming from different country, you know, very dangerous person and so forth. As I said, this is joking, but I mean, this is the way. In Finland, this would be like this. Who are you? What? Where are you coming from? We only speak Finnish here. We only use, you don't even use sauna, very strange. But still, it would be possible. It would be possible to find the people who are able to help you in the journey. I don't think that it's you as alone. You don't have any chance to tap to the insights of Almaty or to the brains of Kazakh people without help of the local people. It's almost the same like you would come to Finland and understand how Finns want to use cookies or salmons or whatever. You cannot do it alone. And that's why teaming up, giving piece of the share of perhaps your business and your time, and team up, and through social media, I think it's the only way how to do it. Yeah. Any other questions? Yes, please.
Hello, Mr. Pekka. I'm an alumnus of the university and actually current HR consultant.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm really interested in the case of Pochta России. No, really, because I was engaged in such a big project of transformation of big governmental company. It was crazy. Because I know what you're facing, like all the transformation stuff and so on. What do you think, what were the headlines of the project and that led to success of the project that you said that it currently is a JST company? And what do you think, what you personally brought to this company to bring it to success?
Okay, good. Good question. I don't know how interesting it is for the rest of the game, but I will answer anyway. In Russia, there is a belief that you can only change things if Vladimir Putin says to do that. So only the direct order from the president is enough. But that's not true. Because the president, the previous president, and the current president gave an order already 15 years ago and 5 years ago. But nothing was happening. Because you cannot change 300,000 people with the ukaz or prikaz. People are still working the same way. Okay. Our tactics was different. So actually we started a mentoring program. So not to the top managers, but 4 layers under them. I traveled with my colleagues to all Russian regions to meet regional Pochta people. How Pochta looks like in Sibirsky region, in Novosibirsk, or how does it look like in Rostov. I spent 2 days with these people to understand how Pochta looks like and how the headquarters, Varshavskaya, which is in Moscow, how they think about what is important. And we went through Russia understanding. And then we went to Varshavskaya, to the headquarters, saying that this is how Pochta looks like from the level where all the work is done. And they were totally shocked, because the world looks so different from the top than from the middle. sorry, I think in university we should not use any naughty words, but I give you an example. One great professor from Harvard Business School said that the company many times looks like a tree which is full of monkeys and they don't have trousers. So their ass is bare. So the bottom is, they don't have pants. And I asked, what do you mean by this? Monkeys in a tree, what do you mean? It means that if you watch the company, and the monkeys are smiling, this is important. Monkeys who are smiling and they don't have pants. So from the top, when you watch to the tree, your company, you see people, monkeys who are smiling. But from the bottom, when you watch, you see only asses. and you don't see anything positive. You see only monkeys right there. And in Pochta was a great example of the story that the view about the top level versus the real people who are working in Pochta was totally different. Secondly, we implemented in Pochta massive digitalization. So there were certain core processes. How do you make travel bills? How do you make your kommandirovkas? All that stuff which are basic issues. We focused on 3 major processes and we automated all. So people started to feel that something is happening. And I always remember when we were in one city where a lady who had worked 55 years in Pochta, 55 years, she said that, Pekka, nothing has happened in 55 years. Nothing. The color of Pochta Russia was a little bit more dark blue, now it's a little bit light blue. Only thing what has happened in 55 years. Even her chair, where she was sitting, was the same after 55 years. And luckily I'm now soon retiring, so because the chair is going to break. Can you imagine? 55 years in the same chair. So, the Pochta is a long story. And changing 350,000 people takes a long journey. And it's still ongoing. It's still ongoing, but we are in a good mood there. There are many people, like my mother-in-law, Ludmila, who is 75 years old. She thinks that we have done a miracle. That in Pochta office in St. Petersburg, people are smiling. And he actually asked for me, she asked, she's a Soviet children, that did we order them to smile? No, we didn't. We made a KPIs that based on the customer satisfaction survey, they get half of their salary. If people are happy about the service in the office, half of the salary comes from the bonus. Nobody's forcing them to smile, they just want to smile because of the Russian rules. Okay, any other questions? Yeah.
I have a really easy question.
Please.
At the beginning of your career, how do you the idea of internet or bank, internet bank, how it came to your mind?
Actually, he did it. To be very honest, I was so my whole life is a series of all kind of accidents. Good accidents. Some are good, some are bad. You never know beforehand. So I was actually a programmer, a software guy. I was programming in the late 80s, all kind of basic software stuff. I mean, even with basic language, but I mean, basic programming. And I liked engineering. But I was doing that so well that when internet boom started in the 1992, 1993, one of my friends, actually his father, said that IBM is planning to make an internet bank, but he doesn't trust IBM because IBM is American and slow and weak and they have nice lives, but they don't. So, Pekka, could you, with your 6 people, make your internet bank? And we didn't know anything about internet, neither banking. But I hired people, I took a risk. I spent 365 days without not a single holiday, nothing, with those guys and girls, actually at that time only boys, and we made the first prototype. And then IBM came to us that can they buy my proto? Because IBM had only the slides. We had a proto. So it has evolved. I would lie if I said that I have some vision that I was sleeping in the sofa and let's make an internet bank. That was not my idea. I had just the right set of competencies. I had a great designer, as you already know, my first girlfriend. She made a great show, PowerPoint slide, how the internet bank looks like, even without no technical knowledge. It was just a fake. It was a fake. This is how banking should be. So, from that, of course, after that, we have done many other innovations, inventions, and it all comes from the other people. So I'm like a person who is searching great talents and talking. For example, the fish is a great example. The fish is a great example. 4 years ago, or 5 years ago, when we were talking about my business, I didn't have any salmon business. Nothing. But a great young entrepreneur contacted me saying that, Mr. Viljakainen, my father has been doing fish farming for 45 years, and the old way of farming fish, like you do in Kazakhstan now, it will not last long, because it's polluting rivers, it's polluting lakes, and environmental story, that you as a consumers are interested in what you are eating, is changing the world. And now, 2020, the world needs hundreds of millions of kilos of organic fish. And we happen to have the technology. Just an accident. I have burned $25 million, my own money for it. And last week in Japan, they said that we don't have not a single factory in Japan. We need 100 such a factory, only for Japan. So it is to stay curious, and when I see an opportunity, I act quite fast. And yes, most of my people, including my family, they think that I'm crazy. I should not do anything new. It's a normal story. When I was in Singapore with my family in New Year, and in a plane, my son Daniel said to me that, Papa, don't invent anything new in this 10 minutes. Don't say anything about new business, new ideas. Be like all other fathers. Just take one beer, take some noodles, enjoy life, don't think anything new. And already in the second day, we were in the beach, in the boat, in front of Indonesia. He came to me, he saw that I was taking photos with my camera about some new things. He said, again, 24 hours, you are like an alcoholic, that you cannot be without new things. And I can tell you that this morning when I woke up in Ritz-Carlton Hotel here, I sleep 200 nights per year in hotels, and I've been in Ritz-Carlton many times. I am building this kind of environmental friendly hotel in Finland. It's kind of a luxury resort. So I was taking 6 photos about certain design parts of Ritz-Carlton room where I have been, and I already sent it to Finland to send to designers that we want to do similar there. So my teams are totally crazy about my photos. When I send the videos, I want this, I want that, I want this, think about this, and my family gets crazy. But that's the way how I do new things. This is the way how I do the things. Sorry, it's my sickness. Any other questions? I think we have a 2 questions time. There.
Mr. Pekka, I have a question for you as for investor. Before you start to invest your money in a big project, what is your demand? For what you look?
So first of all, I have in my team 5 people in Europe and in Russia and now in Asia who are doing the pre-screening, like checking. But we are checking it. The number one issue what we are checking is the person, the entrepreneur. I mean, do we believe that he or she is able to grow as an entrepreneur? If the person is afraid of everything, it's quite impossible even secondary thing, then we check what is the product, what problem the person is solving. That's then of course very essential. Thirdly, we are always investing on the project where we see international market. So we are never investing on the projects where even the business would be only in Kazakhstan and we don't see any demand for any other countries, we are not involved. Because it's not that Kazakhstani market is not big enough, it's just that our whole process is to make it across the world and help. So we are searching for this. And then fourthly, we are checking if we can add anything to that project, something else than money. So if it would be, for example, this fish is a great example. When we got an idea that we start analyzing this fully robotized environmental friendly fish farming, our biggest problem was not to believe on it, but to think, is there anything what we can give to it? Because we were eating a lot of fish, but we are not growing fish. But then through my technological direction, my artificial intelligence, my robotic units, we found technologies and big data things, how these fishes are growing and how the logistic channels, where we can add more. So these four elements, we have to have something else to money to give, people, what problem is solving, and then the entrepreneur. These are the four criteria what we are using. That's pretty much it. Yeah. One last comment. There was a last question.
So there are many companies that publish top 10 skills that young people should have nowadays. What is the concept, or what are the most important skills and competencies young people should have nowadays, in your personal opinion, given that you deal with many companies and organizations in today's days?
I think Noel is pretty much summarizing what I've said here this morning. But I think that the general curiosity, I mean, I don't like, even people are educated. I don't know how your professors are telling to you that you should be focusing on something, that you should have a focus. Of course, it's good to be good on something, but still, the key skill is to have a kind of a broad mind. I mean, it's totally impossible to be an entrepreneur if you don't know anything about numbers. If you don't know anything about, you cannot be a managing director if you don't understand what is a VIT, what's the difference of revenue and profit. So you have to have a broad thing. But I think that the soft skill, what I said, is that you really need to be interested about other people. Because if you are only interested about yourself or your technology, and you see all other people like the tools of your success, like a part of the machines. You remember the favorite movie from Charles Chaplin, where the people are like the parts of the machines. And when the part is broken, you change a new person there. If you have such a mentality, it's quite difficult to be a leader in a knowledge business. And then the last but not least is this word globalization or international. And I want to emphasize now, it seems that you all speak English, you are fine with that. But to speak English, it doesn't mean that you are international. To speak English is just a precondition that you can do something. But when you are able to leave your wallet to the person who is not your own nationality, I mean wallet, physically, or you trust so much a person that you can give your children for a nanny, or something like that, then you start to be international. Then you are not afraid of other people. And I am extremely interested, I'm happy about Alma, you in the sense what we have discussed about, that you try to keep the international flag on, even you have most of a lot of students are from Kazakhstan, but you have students all over the world here. This is beyond that you have an international team. It is to educate Kazakhstani colleagues to be in a global environment. This is absolutely essential for the success of your school. with these words, I know that you are all bored, you want to have a lunch break and everything. Sorry for my boring stories, and I wish you best of luck. Thank you, спасибо.
As a president of Almaty Management University, I would like to thank you for your nice overview about entrepreneurship. You know, Pekka Viljakainen came to the board, sitting on the board of trustees, spending his very expensive time for free, without any, he's not getting any dollar from us, maybe a lot of costs in opposite. But anyway, I would like to have only one question as a final question. You mentioned several times one of the skills of the entrepreneur, and my question is, it's so necessary to have a skill to be crazy. How far crazy you should be to be successful entrepreneur?
The thing is that it's an excellent question from you, sir. Not all people are crazy. Not all people are like me or like I'm not saying that everybody should be like this, but you should have in your team crazy people. So if I'm using again this company here, this new 5 people team, you might be very cautious, you might be good on accounting, you might be the person who tells always the truth, and you are the crazy one, you tell the new ideas. You have to have a combination of those things. And that's the whole thing. I'm not saying, I mean, in a company, if you would see my company, I would put here, you can go to AI.fi website. I have my younger brother, Olli, who is 40 years old. He's our managing director. He is worried about everything. Olli is always worried. He's my younger brother. He's controlling our money. When I say some new ideas, no, Pekka, no. In trouble. Why don't we just relax? Why do you go? Why fish? I don't even like fish. and so we have different roles. I have my CFO, Chief Financial Officer, Anton Borpayev. He's like, yeah. And then we have many people in between. So I'm saying that you have to have a combination of these things. Otherwise, it would be total chaos. But you have to respect these views. You have to respect these views. You have to have a power and you have a counter power to make it happen. Yes.
Okay, it's a great answer. I say we are all crazy in Almaty.
I'm sure about that.
It's a small present on behalf of Almaty for your nice presentation.
Thank you. Thank you.